All right, 2004 Ford Escape, alternator's out. The service manual says to like chop off part of the exhaust. I've done this before. 3 years ago I had to do this, so I had to remove a bunch of junk up here, ECU up there, and actually wiggle it up and down the firewall. It works. Saves a lot of time. To disconnect it, you're gonna have to get through it through the wheel wells. So jack up your car, take off your 5 lug nuts, move your tire off, and we're gonna start taking some of these panels off. I'm gonna remove this one first, but our alternator is damn Ford engineers pain in the ass. See a little metal thing in there? That's the alternator. They want you to remove the control arm. I don't know, brain damage. We're gonna do it the redneck way, I guess. 5 10mm bolts and a screw. One of those bolts is kind of a screw. They got 10mm heads on them. It's 3 in the front. 1, 2, 3. 2 right here. 1, 2, and the screw goes in there. And that takes this whole plastic piece off. So now we can see the accessory belt, and we can hopefully get up in there and get what we need. I'm gonna take some more plastic out here soon. There's a piece back here I want gone. That one I was just pointing to is held on literally by 2 body clips. It's set up like this as a splash guard. I just got my hands back in behind here, pushed with my thumbs on it, popped them out of the 2 holes that were in that brace, and then I can wiggle it out this hole. So now that's a splash guard for the alternator. So now I can get to all the plugs and things on the alternator. I can already get to the accessory belt and the tensioner. Which I assume is right here. I can't remember, I did this a couple years ago, I have to look, but gotta get that belt off. Should be 3 connections to the alternator, I think. 1 sensor, 1 ground, and 1 positive. I don't know, I'll look at the new one. I bought a new one, not a remanufactured one. I did not buy the brand that I bought 3 years ago because apparently they're jerks, and if they have a lifetime warranty on it, but only if it's installed by an ACME tech something. Obviously I'm not certified to work on a car, so warranty was useless, but 3 years is, I guess, long enough. It's a generator, it should run forever, so probably something in the electronics go wrong with it. Up there by the axle. Okay, from what I remember, you don't have to look this up, but I brought it up through this hole. I literally stood on my knees on the top of the engine and bounced up and down on the motor mounts to get enough room to wiggle it up there. But I know to get it out of this hole, I had to take the whole ECU out of here. So this has to come out and apart. These 2 bolts drag it out of that cylinder. This disconnects this plug at first, and then you can set that whole ECU aside. Be careful with it. Don't short it out. Discharge yourself, whatever you need. Before you take that out, unhook your negative battery terminal. You're messing with the electronics. It's the air intake for all the cylinders. This is the air intake. This is the air valve doodad. I guess I call this the manifold. I don't know. Words aren't important. I know what they do. Throttle body. Check mark. All that had to come off, so because I got to get these air intakes off so I can get back there. So all this plastic comes off. Probably remove the throttle body and this hose. I'll leave this air intake canister and everything in its place, but I'm gonna take all this off, which means disconnecting all this accessory garbage that's connected to it. So throttle cables. This one's the throttle cable. This is probably your cruise control. That makes sense. Yeah, cruise control. Vacuum hoses, all that's going to come off. Let's see. This is as much for you as it is for me, so I remember how this stuff goes back together. Hose there, hose here, bigger hose here. Throttle cable is connected up there. I think that'll probably come off. I'll have to disconnect. I remember taking all these bolts off this guy. I'm not sure if that comes off. We'll find out later, but I know I took this off, this off. It's been 3 years to the date it popped up on my Facebook. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, all this throttle body has to come off here. All that, disconnect. This whole hose piece comes off. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, not right now, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think there's 12 bolts on it. They look 8mm. 1, 2, 3 8mm bolts, so I don't lose these. I screw them back in. valve just pulls right out. 2 8mm hose clamps. Throttle cable pops out like any brake cable on a bicycle. This pops right off here. Took this hose right out. I disconnect this plug and this plug. 2 8mm bolts. One there, one there. Set bracket on. Just trying to get this guy off. For this one, it's 2 8mm, but the back one, you need a deep well socket for it. So in the back are just normal hose clamps. 2 of them are normal hose clamps. This middle nozzle just pulls right off. Also, these electrical clips, this one has a little pin in the back you can hold, pulls right off. This one, push this piece down either on the inside here or there and it should pop out. They were pretty easy, easier than most Ford connectors. 8 8mm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can't lose them, they don't pull all the way out. And this whole thing just lifts up and out. This guy goes inside this hole. It's really long, so getting pulled out. And there's one other hose here. It's connected, and it's just a normal hose clamp. Also, this guy was connected to the front, but he's just there to dangle so it doesn't get caught in this cam chain, or cam belt. That's what it looks like. I've taken a towel and cleaned up some of this air intake stuff, but it's where the air and stuff's going into the cylinders. So now we've got a big hole back here. If you want to do a tune-up, this is the time to get to these back guys. You're never going to get closer. Again, disconnect battery, negative terminal. That guy's coming out next. My battery's an 8mm. Just took it off and put it down. There's a 10mm in the middle of the plug. Pull that straight out so you don't bend the pins. Do not bend it. And 2 8mm on the side. And then this guy should pop right out of this hole. Here's the car computer. Pretty exciting. Nice and safe. Put that somewhere that's not in my pile of other parts. I got an oil. I got a couple of oil spots down here. There's an oil leak somewhere because this is all dirty. Probably the rear valve cover. Maybe it's down here at the oil pan. I don't know. Check the alternator, maybe that's what killed it. But anyway, to get the belt off. So, take your 3/8 inch ratchet, plug it right into this little hole in this tensioner. You'll see it. Then you just pull on it really hard. That moves it that way. And if you get it, move it about 4 inches. Then you can loop. I'm underneath it, laying underneath the wheel well. Here's the roof. You can loop it off the pulley that's on the alternator there. It's pretty easy. It takes a little heft to move this. Kind of hurts your hand a little bit, but get it done. If you have a longer ratchet, maybe better. All right, here's the new alternator. One, it's a slide bolt, looks like 2, 3 bolts holding it on, hopefully. And 2 plugs, one in the back and then a ground plug there on the side. I think that's it. So I can't see the other one well. I wanted to see what I need to disconnect it. Looks like 2 electrical plugs, one under a bolt. It's another 8mm, I think. 3 bolts. Let's see if I can get to them on the other one. I remember this being painful. It's look like that. You get the 3 of them out of there, which is a pain in the ass, but you work your ratchet around in there. Get up here like you're delivering a baby and twist this around so you can see the electrical connections. This one has to come, the ground connection or charging connection, whatever it is, comes off here with a 10mm bolt, and then pull that other plug off. All right, pulled it up through that hole by this side. Pull it up like this and wiggle around the hoses. Push that back down. Shove your new one down in the hole the same way, twist it around where you can get to the electrical connections. I've already done that. Reconnect them on this side. To get that old connection off, one's a 10mm socket, the other just push it on the latch area with a screwdriver. It'll pop right up pretty well on its own. But yeah, then you just twist it around. I've almost got it twisted back around where the pulley's on this side and I can line that bolt back up. It can be done. It's a pain in the ass, but this is the best way I found to do it.